Well, thanks for joining, everybody. My name is Sarah Lee. I work at the University of Michigan Graham Sustainability Institute. My title is Clean Energy Engagement Specialist, which is kind of a mouthful, but really all you need to know is I help coordinate, or I do coordinate the CLC Fellowship for Catalyst Leadership Circle Fellowship. I am battling whatever respiratory virus has been going around, so bear with me. I'll probably be taking lots of sips of water and may have to pause to cough up a lung, hopefully not. Um, but otherwise, I think we can get started. The point of today is to just kind of dig a little deeper or provide at least an overview of the fellowship and what participation looks like, and also the application process. We're joined by Katie Economou as well, who was a fellow last summer. So she can share her experience and I don't know, any thoughts you may have for prospective fellows at the end. So I'll go through slides and Katie will speak, and then at the end we'll have lots of time for questions. I don't know if we'll need the full hour today, but we are recording so that if folks want to view this later, anyone who registered, I will send it out to them. After Katie's done talking, though, I'm going to stop the recording for Q&A, so feel free to ask whatever questions, it'll just be between the group that's here now. So I'll get started. Maybe, here we go. So before I dive into the details of the fellowship itself, I thought I would step back and provide some background on the CLC, or the Catalyst Leadership Circle, which is its own entity. So back in September of 2020, Governor Whitmer announced the Catalyst Communities Program, which is state-funded under EAGLE, which EAGLE stands for the Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy. So that's a state of Michigan department. And the Catalyst Communities Program aims to provide education, training, technical assistance to local governments throughout the state as they prepare for climate impacts. And so through a grant that Graham has with EAGLE, we help them develop the Catalyst Communities Program and associated initiatives. So early on, we determined different communities require different types of assistance. So some are very early in their sustainability planning process, or maybe don't even understand how their community really ties to energy or sustainability. And so we have programming in the works for them. We have this kind of middle group that they've taken some sustainable actions, but they don't maybe have the bandwidth or the staffing to do much more. And then there are these leading communities that are embracing this challenge and are pioneering new sustainable actions and initiatives. And so EAGLE and U of M, as mentioned, are actively working on different Catalyst Communities initiatives for these three groups to meet them where they are and help advance their sustainability goals. But the CLC was created for that last leading group. And I coordinate that. It provides a recurring space for local governments to convene, network, share resources and ideas, and really come together to help advance causes important to them. Because you can see on the slide here, I've listed a couple communities that if you are in the fellowship, you could potentially work with. They range in size. So Ann Arbor, for example, has a small team of people at the local government that are dedicated to sustainability and work on a variety of initiatives. They are the largest, I'd say, department within the state. They have an actual department. The majority of communities or local governments within the state maybe have one or two people, maybe a half a person. Maybe they don't even have a person at all that's dedicated just to sustainability work. So some of these smaller communities like Meridian Township or Holland or Ferndale, they'll have like one person kind of leading these efforts. And so they don't have a lot of bandwidth to work on things and coordinate maybe with their fellow communities in this space. So the CLC is a way to bring them together at an event they don't have to plan to share resources and network. There are about 35 eligible communities that can participate in the CLC. And we hope to, I guess, pair you up with a subsection of those for this summer. So the fellowship itself, being in the CLC, these communities have the opportunity to work with you and help expand their bandwidth maybe a little bit. So during the program, fellows help CLC members take tangible steps towards their sustainability goals by completing advanced projects. We plan to select 8 to 10 enthusiastic graduate level scholars ready to help make sustainable and equitable changes to the different communities, big and small, within the state. The fellowship is 10 weeks from May 22nd to July 28th, with fellows working full time, so about 40 hours a week. If selected, you'll be awarded $7,500 for your work, to be paid in regular disbursements throughout the summer. So you get $2,000 3 separate times, spaced out throughout the program. And then you get $1,500 during the first week to help cover travel and housing costs in Ann Arbor. We understand that certain family circumstances may require some fellows to work from home, and the COVID landscape is always changing. So while we hope to have everyone in person, we are flexible and we will work with students on an individual basis to help meet your needs. And since the fellowship is for communities across Michigan, since the CLC is for communities across Michigan, the fellowship is statewide as well. So students attending any institution within Michigan are eligible to apply, not just U of M students. Also, any relevant major is acceptable, as different projects may require different skill sets. So if you're a person that is interested in sustainability and local government action and think you have some skills you could share, then please apply. So project teams, once you're selected, you will be assigned to a project based on your interests and your skills, as best as possible. We try to take what you write in your written responses to heart and match you where you're most interested in and where we think you would be of the greatest asset to a community. Excuse me, I'm gonna take some water. All right. So fellows are supported by their team throughout the summer. You will serve, your role in the team is the project lead. So you're responsible for creating that deliverable by the end of the program. It's a shareable deliverable because we want it to be useful to the community that you're working with, but also to any other community in Michigan so they can use it whenever they're ready. And deliverables live on, excuse me, and deliverables, you can see them from last year. They are on our website at the Graham website, but also on the Eagle website. So communities can access those whenever. But back to project teams. So as a fellow, you're the project lead. Your main point of contact is your primary CLC mentor, who serves as the client in the relationship. They come from these communities who, as I mentioned, range in size, the smaller townships to like the Ferndales and Meridian townships to the larger ones like Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor. Different size communities have different needs and different requirements. So it's really important as the team lead to build that relationship with your primary CLC mentor and determine, what you need to consider in order to create a successful project deliverable. So to help with the project, because it's anticipated you're probably not an expert in whatever project they want to cover just yet. And a reason why the CLC community may not have tackled a project yet may be because they're not experts either or don't have the time to learn. So to help provide topical expertise, we also bring in a technical advisor or TA. This is a professional who will come from a different university, private sector, to support the project with resources or contacts or expert knowledge to help you tackle your project's most difficult questions. And you'll meet with your project team throughout the summer, weekly, to help keep moving it along. And these meetings are usually virtual. And then in addition to your weekly project meetings, we also have a few mandatory convenings for you to participate in. The first one is the CLC Fellowship kickoff, which is the first day of the program, Monday, May 22nd. And that is where fellows, technical advisors, and mentors all meet together for the first time to discuss their project goals. They draft a timeline, determine communication norms, brainstorm what that final deliverable will be. So we have tools to help you work through that, but I think it's a great way to kick off the project on the right foot. That meeting is also, it coincides with a convening of the CLC. So all fellows will also get to observe and gain an initial exposure to the communities that they'll be working with and some of their challenges. And one thing, I forgot to mention at this kickoff, you're also going to brainstorm what your final deliverable will actually be. I didn't get into that detail yet. So rather than like requiring you to write a paper or something by the end of the fellowship, you're working on that deliverable, which we want to be usable by the community. So it could be a paper, but maybe you work on a toolkit, or maybe it's a template or a guide or something else. But it's for your project team to determine what would be most useful for your community that you're working with. We want it to be really applicable and, like I said, usable. So that's the kickoff. You have your weekly team meetings, and then throughout the summer, we also give you the opportunity to travel and see the communities that you're actually working with. So we do these day trips, a couple overnights, depending on how far away the community is. And it allows you to tour any relevant facilities or sustainability locations relevant to your project. You get to meet with your mentors again in person, and it kind of gives you a glimpse of how a local Michigan government operates. So we visit each community once that is participating in the fellowship. And in hearing from past fellows, Katie, you can talk about this later, but I've heard that this is one of the highlights of the fellowship, is seeing all the different communities in Michigan. And then the last major event in the fellowship is at the end on Thursday, July 27th. There's a closing convening for fellows to present their research and their deliverable to the broader CLC member group. So you'll do presentations, not only for your project team will be there, but again, this doubles as a CLC convening. So we invite all of the CLC to come if they're able, and you can share what you've been working on, and they can, find out about more resources that are on Eagle's website that they can take advantage of in the future as well. So in addition to these core convenings, weekly, you'll also have a quick check-in with me just to touch base and make sure things are going smoothly. If you have any issues, we can work through them, and I can see, how I can help and try to help coordinate different things. And then in addition to that, we also do a weekly skill building workshop. So you'll interact with a variety of experts, external, that we bring in to help advance your project and also your professional development. So last year, we partnered with UM's Ginsburg Center, and they did a couple sessions on community engagement, entering and exiting communities respectfully, and anti-racism. We also do practice talks, project briefs. So we try to set you up so when it is final presentation time, you're solid, you're really ready to go. And then eligibility. So the applications are now open. If you haven't been to our website yet, there's the link. In order to participate, you have to be a graduate student and kind of in the middle of your graduate education. So you have to have completed at least one term of study prior to the start of the fellowship, and you have to have at least one term left to go after the completion of the fellowship. You have to be able to work full-time, 40 hours a week, and attend all of those convenings that I just mentioned. So while it isn't a rule that you can't have another job or a supplemental appointment during the fellowship, it can be really hard because this is a full-time job. So again, it's not like you're allowed to have another job or another commitment, but make sure that you think through your availability. And we try to be in person as much as possible. And so hours are flexible, but generally it's good to be in the office kind of 8 to 4. But if you have an individual circumstance, we can talk about that. And then you have to either be a U.S. citizen, permanent resident status, or the ability to show proof of work authorization. So we do accept international students as long as you have that proof of work authorization and can show that, if you're working in something related to your degree, we can pay you, we can hire you. And then you also have to comply with UM's COVID-19 vaccination policy. Individuals from historically marginalized or underrepresented groups, as well as students who experience economic disadvantages or may have personal or family circumstances that may complicate their academic and professional progress, are really encouraged to apply. Life happens. If there's a circumstance that requires you to be at home with your family, we can accommodate you. Conversely, with that extra housing travel money we provide, if you want to, you can use that however you want. So you can use that to, sublet a room for just yourself. If you want, you can relocate your household for the summer. We're a flexible fellowship, so please reach out if you have any questions or need assistance with anything. My door, my phone, my Zoom room is always open. So reach out with whatever it is, and we can discuss what we can do to make sure you succeed. And then here is the application. It is due January 25th. So if you're on our website, once you click apply, this web page or something similar should show up. Mine might look a little different because I have editing privileges, but it's essentially the same. You'll need to sign in with your UM unique name. So if you're external to the University of Michigan, you need to create a UM friend account. Instructions on how to do that are on our website, but if you run into any problems, just reach out. As part of the application, you need 2 professional references, one of which must be from an academic advisor or a professor. And rather than having them send in a letter of recommendation, which can be time consuming, what we do is we send them a survey to complete, and we will only reach out to them if you are one of the finalists, rather than contacting everybody, because we know your professors are busy too. You will also need to upload your resume and making sure it includes your current and previous academic institutions, all majors and minors, and your anticipated graduation date. And then there are 3 short answer responses. Please package these with your resume in one PDF file. That helps the reviewers out a lot. So in one PDF file, you'll have your resume, these 3 short answer responses. This written portion holds the highest weight in the review process. So please make sure you give it enough time, you're thoughtful in your writing, have someone proofread it, and spell out, highlight why you are the best fit for this fellowship. What skills would you bring to a project, and make it as clear as possible for the review committee, why you should be selected. We want, water. These viruses. Anyway, we really want quality candidates for our CLC members, but we also want to make sure that this experience is transformative for our fellows too, not just incremental. So make sure to highlight how this experience will benefit your long and short-term goals. Rather than, we want you to talk about your past work experience and what you'll bring kind of to the table, but make sure to emphasize why this opportunity will be transformative to your overall education or career. What are you lacking that this will provide, rather than just, I've done all these things and this is the next step in my, career. It's that transformative piece that can really make your application stand out. And then lastly, in this application process, when you uploaded everything and you filled out all the fields, you will save your application, and that first time you save it, you're going to receive an automated confirmation email. And you can use that to come back and make any edits to your application. If you don't receive that confirmation email, then something didn't save correctly. So try saving again. Again, if you run into issues, feel free to reach out. But you want to make sure everything is ready to go by the end of the day on January 25th, because then whatever you have in there will be automatically submitted at midnight that night. And then after the application closes, your materials will be reviewed by myself and our review committee. Second round finalists will be asked to interview sometime in late February, early March, and then we hope to make final selections in mid-March. That's the goal. Things happen, but that's the goal. So if you haven't already, I encourage you to check out our website. This is what the homepage looks like. We've got on the quick links here, this is the home program components, kind of outlines everything I just discussed. We've got a FAQ section for some common questions. You can check out past projects and past fellows and what they worked on in this alumni and past projects section. Obviously, once we have a new cohort, we will update the current fellows section. But if you click on those application guidelines, you'll go to this page. This is where you can start an application. We also have a button on the home page. Both of those do the same thing, but this is the button on the application guidelines page. Again, the text kind of goes over everything I just talked about, but you'll want to make sure that you click this here link, which, as you'll see, one of the written responses is to talk about which of the projects you find most interesting and what you could bring to those projects. So you'll want to click on that to get the summary of potential projects and point to those in your response. So don't miss that link. And I think that's everything I wanted to talk about on this page. Projects are subject to change. We could get some new ones, but these ones are pretty certain to be available for the summer. So overall, this fellowship, the goals of the fellowship are to, one, help CLC members complete a more advanced project that they wouldn't normally have the bandwidth to pursue, while also giving students a hands-on applied research experience in a sustainability career. And then third, we want to make sure that the projects result in a shareable deliverable that other communities outside of the project team and even outside of the CLC can use to help reproduce results in their jurisdictions whenever they're ready. I also want to emphasize that this program, as the lead, I will do my best to ensure that it is an equitable, ethical, and engaging learning opportunity for everyone involved. My door is essentially always open. If there's ever a problem or something you want to talk through, I am there to support you. You are project lead for your own project, but you're not alone. You're responsible for your own deliverable, but you've got the cohort with you. Oftentimes folks are working on similar problems or similar tasks. So you've got that as a resource in addition to myself and really anyone at Graham. We want to make this your summer home and help you succeed in the project and moving on with your career. So my email is at the bottom if you have any questions, and that is our website. I'm gonna throw a couple links in the chat, the Graham website, and then also a couple slides ago I had some links to the Eagle website, which outlines the CLC and the Catalyst Communities program if you want to dig into that some more. But Katie, if you're ready, I would like to turn things over to you if you just want to share some thoughts on the program and how it was for you. And then, any tips or advice you have for any future fellows.
Yeah, absolutely. If I ramble too much or if you have any questions, feel free to stop me. Hi, I'm Katie. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a second year master's student at Taubman College, where currently I apologize if it's a bit loud. I have a focus area in land use and environmental planning. And I'm really excited to talk about the CLC Fellowship because I love the experience and I really did learn so much. I was a fellow last year and I worked with Meridian Township and I created a green communications toolkit strategy and evaluation process, which is all up on Graham's website, like Sarah mentioned. My deliverable had two aspects. One was the transferable guide for all municipalities across Michigan, and the second was a more tailored strategy for Meridian Township. And the toolkit really helps municipalities communicate complex sustainability topics to communities in a really digestible way. And the overall goal, especially for the transferable guide, is to empower communities to adopt greater environmental stewardship more on like an individual level. So that can translate into a wider movement towards more green Michigan. And the toolkit has like step-by-step directions and templates for creating, facilitating, evaluating, and painting a long-term sustainability communication campaign. And although my project is like really heavily communications based, a lot of my fellow fellows, they had really different deliverables. And for example, like Mia did climate vulnerability assessments, I believe. Other people did like construction and demolition recycling ordinance writing, creating composting programs, mitigation strategies, GIS stormwater management, just like really different projects. And it was really great in that aspect too, because it initiated a lot of like peer-to-peer learning. And everyone in my cohort came from really different backgrounds and we all had really different strengths. So we all kind of helped each other out with our deliverables, got really valuable feedback, which was super helpful, especially with having a technical advisor that served that role as well. And another reason the program was really valuable for me, I made a lot of good connections in the Michigan sustainability space. And I also furthered a lot of my knowledge in environmental justice and green energy and accessible communications practices. And that's something personally I didn't really get from my program. And although I'm like land use and environmental planning, some of these topics, especially environmental justice, were kind of neglected in my field. So this has really helped my personal learning in my program and kind of like painted out what I want to do more so in the future, aside from planning. And also, it was really helpful because I learned a lot about the day-to-day of local governments and all the constraints and opportunities for advancing progress in the realm of sustainability. And as a future planner, hopefully in the environmental space, is really important for me because I'm currently working with local governments and now I have like a better picture and understanding of like how to best approach topics and how to really advance progress in the face of a bunch of like administrative constraints, like Sarah mentioned. Working with Meridian Township, there was pretty much just 3 people on the team. So a lot of times we had to overcome barriers like shortages and like how I can best tailor my deliverable to really fix those things, hopefully. And I also had a really great technical advisor. I had Alex Haddad, and she coached me on communication strategies and frameworks because I wasn't entirely exposed to that space before entering the CLC. And we met like 2 times a week. And she really helped me like achieve my personal goals because I wanted to learn how to make an editorial calendar. She helped me out with this cost benefit evaluation or program strategy in the realm of comms, and also just deliver on all my objectives that I scoped out with Meridian Township that I wanted to achieve. Also, like Sarah mentioned, the community visits were amazing. We got to travel all around Michigan in like faraway areas, Traverse City and Grand Rapids, to more like local areas, Ann Arbor and Detroit. And we got to meet with a bunch of sustainability leaders in that space. Workshops were also really pivotal and fun. I think maybe there were a few images from the adventure leaders day, but I'm not really one for team bonding activities. I kind of cringe when I'm faced with them, and I was terrified for this, but I don't think I've ever laughed harder or immediately bonded with the group so fast just from that first experience. It was so great. There's also a lot of technical assistance in the program as well, and like tech assistance. I had access to like cool design software, and I had an amazing desktop, which really helped streamline my work. That's a big overview. Sorry if I rambled. And I'm open to any questions. I just really love the experience. It was great.
Hey, thank you, Katie. Uh, I'm gonna stop recording now, so we can share that with folks later. But then, yeah, I'll open it up to Q&A if you guys have any questions or comments. I'm happy to answer.